Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here. So Gennady Golovkin defeats Sergiy Derevyanchenko by a unanimous decision to win the vacant IBF middleweight title. Now, this fight was an absolute war, a fight of the year contender, no doubt about it. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it, but the decision has gone down as controversial. Now, I wasn't scoring this fight live, I've got to confess. I do try not to score fights live these days because I find that it can take your enjoyment away from fights. So that's why I don't score fights live anymore. But regardless of that, when you watch a fight, you still get an idea of who won the fight. And I've got to be honest, when I go back and score a fight, you know, my scorecards usually align with my gut feeling in terms of who won. And I've got to say, this Gennady Golovkin versus Sergiy Derevyanchenko fight, I've got to be honest, I felt Sergiy Derevyanchenko deserved the nod. Of course, I would go back and score this fight. I might post it in the comments to this video and pin it, or I might even put it on my community tab on my channel. But I will share my scorecard in the coming days. But regardless, I felt Derevyanchenko was very unfortunate not to get the nod. Was it a robbery? I mean, it's hard to say without me scoring the fight, so I'll leave that there. But, you know, I felt Derevyanchenko did enough in this fight. But again, that doesn't take away from the fact that it was a great fight. This was a fight of the year contender and a middleweight classic. It was brutal. It was a great fight. So credit to both men for showing great heart. Early on in this fight, I've got to say, I actually felt Gennady Golovkin looked quite good, to be honest with you. Round one, he scored a knockdown. He caught Derevyanchenko with like a right hand on top of the head. That dropped Derevyanchenko. And round one, I felt Golovkin was the boss. He was the guy who was keeping the better shape. He was landing the harder shots. And he was the ring general. Round two was more of the same. I felt Golovkin was looking nice and sharp. He was covering up well when Derevyanchenko was attacking. And I felt he was picking some nice hard shots. Also in round two, Derevyanchenko sustained a cut to the eye. I actually felt it was caused by a punch, but apparently it was caused by a head clash. But regardless, round two was another good round for Golovkin in my opinion. Just landing the better shots. Derevyanchenko was landing a few good shots here and there. But again in round two, I felt Golovkin was kind of in charge. But round three was where this fight turned on its head. Golovkin started the round okay, but around midway through the round, Sergiy Derevyanchenko really started to up the pace, and he decided to go down to Golovkin's body. And in round three, Golovkin was hurt by a couple of body shots, and visibly so. You know, no poker face, he was clearly hurt, and after he got hurt, he was exchanging with Sergiy Derevyanchenko, and, you know, round three was the turning point in this fight, in my opinion. I don't think Golovkin ever really shook off the effects of those body shots in round three, because after that, you know, Derevyanchenko round by round kept on adding to the body. You know, he kept on going downstairs, and Golovkin was feeling it, man. He really was. And I've got to say, people who are saying Golovkin is shot, yeah, he's past his best, I would agree with you, but I'm not sure about shot, because he looked quite decent in the first two rounds. I felt Derevyanchenko just made this a damn hard fight. But regardless, after round three, Derevyanchenko had some tremendous success, especially down to the body, like we say. But on the inside, you know, uppercuts through the middle, hooks to the body. You know, he was outworking Golovkin on the inside for large periods of this fight. He was putting his shots together. He was throwing combinations. He was showing a greater punch output and work rate, whereas Golovkin a lot of the time was looking for one clubbing shot, that overhand right, that left hook. You know, he wasn't really putting his shots together. And in a lot of those rounds, after round three, I felt Golovkin was getting outworked by Sergiy Derevyanchenko. On top of that, he was getting hurt to the body. So not only was Derevyanchenko outlanding Golovkin, but he also hurt Golovkin multiple times to the body. And this was the theme of the fight for a lot of the rounds. Don't get me wrong, there were some close rounds as well, some very close competitive rounds where Golovkin could have got the edge, but, you know, I felt the rounds that Derevyanchenko won, he won quite big, whereas the rounds that Golovkin won, he kind of stole or just about won. So, for me, throughout this fight after round 3, Derevyanchenko was the guy who looked more comfortable, he was the guy doing much more effective work. And apart from the last couple of rounds, and this is important to me in fights, Derevyanchenko kept a much better shape than Gennady Golovkin. In a lot of these rounds, Golovkin looked very ragged, I guess you would say. And I think that was due to the work of Sergiy Derevyanchenko, because like I said, first 2 rounds, Golovkin looked good. He looked good. He looked sharp, he was boxing well, landing some good shots. So I'm not sure whether this is solely down to Golovkin's age, to be honest with you. I think it's a bit of both, don't get it twisted, but don't put it solely down to Golovkin's age. We need to give Derevyanchenko a lot of credit here. Going into this fight, I picked Golovkin to win. I picked Golovkin by a late stoppage, and I couldn't have got it more wrong. My line of thinking was that Golovkin would approach this fight similar to the David Lemieux fight. He would get on that jab and keep the smaller man on the outside. But that's not what happened. I mentioned in my prediction video, Derevyanchenko's best chance was to get on Golovkin's chest. But I never thought he could get there. But he did get there. And the success he had on Golovkin's chest on the inside was very apparent. So, you know, I kind of got that bit right, I guess. I can use that, I guess, to you know, kind of prop up my terrible prediction. But man, listen, excellent fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I felt Derevyanchenko won. I'll go back and watch the fight. I will go back and score, and I will post my scorecard in the coming days. You know, was it a robbery? Again, it's hard to say when you've not scored a fight, but the overwhelming feeling I had, Derevyanchenko did enough. I've seen a few people out there call it a robbery, so it's definitely controversial. But like I say, I will share my scorecard in the coming days. As for what's next for both fighters, as far as I'm concerned, I think we need a rematch. I really do. First fight, obviously, great fight, controversial. Let's get a rematch. Makes sense. Derevyanchenko is proven at elite level. You know, 2 losses officially, but he took Danny Jacobs very close, and he's arguably beat Gennady Golovkin. Sergiy Derevyanchenko is an elite level middleweight, so I would like to see a rematch. If that weren't to happen, maybe Golovkin versus Demetrius Andrade and Sergiy Derevyanchenko versus Jermall Charlo, because Derevyanchenko is a PBC fighter. Why not Derevyanchenko versus Jermall Charlo for the WBC title if you can't get a Golovkin rematch? I think that'd be a great fight. And as would Golovkin versus Andrade. Both of those fights make sense to me. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the fight. Blood and guts, fight of the year contender. These boys beat the hell out of each other, so whatever they got paid, they certainly earned it as far as I'm concerned. And one more thing on the scoring. From what I understand, DAZN, who obviously are Golovkin's network, actually scored this fight to Sergiy Derevyanchenko. And also, by the way, just to throw it out there, Sky Sports, they scored this fight for Gennady Golovkin. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there also in regards to the scorecards and how people scored this fight. Now obviously I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think won this fight? Did you score it? If so, drop your scorecards below. Did you enjoy the fight? And where do you want to see both guys go from here? Would you like to see a rematch like me? Or wouldn't you mind alternative options such as Golovkin versus Andrade, Derevyanchenko versus Charlo? Share your thoughts below. I want to hear your opinions on the scoring, what you thought of the fight, and where both guys go from here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like, hit subscribe, it really helps me out. And I've also done post-fight videos for all of the main fights on this card. You can find those on my channel. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.